Hello, everyone. It's good to see you here tonight. We will begin with the verse of Pesach. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, freeing all creations. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, freeing all creations. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Tathagata's teaching, freeing all creations. Gata of Atonement. All harmful karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. Incense offering. Fragrance of this incense invites the awakened mind to be present with us now. Fragrance of this incense fills our room, protects and guards our minds from wrong thinking. The fragrance of this incense unites us with precepts, concentration, and insight. We offer it for all beings. Lola's down there. She's kind of in the way. It's okay. Homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I shall become one with the Buddha. I resolve that I shall each day follow the way of life he laid down for us to walk and awaken to his supreme wisdom. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I shall become one with the Dharma. The gates of Dharma are manifold. I vow to enter them all. The goal of wisdom is ever beyond. I shall attain it. I go to the Sangha for guidance. I shall become one with the Sangha in the spirit of universal fellowship. And as a member of the Sangha, I pledge myself to strive for the enlightenment of all beings. The Metta Sutta. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings. Radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upward to the skies and downward to the depths, outward and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, sitting or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into the world of suffering. May I be happy and well. May no harm come to me. May I learn compassion. May all my friends, family, and those I love be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all those troubled in body, mind, and spirit be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all those who have hurt me in body, mind, and spirit be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all those I have hurt in body, mind, and spirit be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all my enemies be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. May all living beings be happy and well. May no harm come to them. May they learn compassion. So we're going to meditate. We talked last week about maybe spending a little bit longer on meditation. So we're going to do that. And I got some feedback from a couple people that they liked the Brahma Viharas meditations, that was helpful in keeping up that practice that we worked with quite a bit before the end of the year. So I'm going to go through the Brahma Viharas over the next several weeks. So start with Metta Bhavana tonight. And so I think what we'll do is we'll meditate for 15 minutes. I'll guide you through a fairly quick version of Metta Bhavana, but you can continue to work with it on your own. I'll leave whatever's left over, which should be 5 to 7 minutes at least, for just silent meditation. So if you're setting a timer, set it for 15 minutes. If you're setting a timer and turning your sound off, that is. Otherwise, you can sit along with us. Begin with a few deep breaths. As always, let your belly be nice and soft so your lungs can fill and empty completely. Let your breath settle to a comfortable rhythm, but stay aware of the breath. Know when you're breathing in, know when you're breathing out. And bring your attention to the center of your chest, to the heart center. And as you exhale, just let this thought ride silently on your breath. May I be happy. May I be free from animosity. May I be free from stress and affliction. May I look after myself with ease. And call to mind a loved one. Imagine them with you or think of their name. And begin to wish them happiness. May they be happy. And then call to mind a good friend. And it can help to think of how you feel when you're with them, if it makes you happy to be with them, or things that they've done for you, anything like that that causes your goodwill for them to arise. And send them your goodwill. May they be happy. And now a neutral person. Someone that you know, but you don't know well, perhaps, or You just find yourself feeling kind of neutral toward them. No liking, no disliking, or maybe they're just a casual acquaintance you don't really know that much about. But you know that, like yourself, your friend, your loved one, that they want to be happy. They want to be free from stresses. So just send them that wish. May they be happy. And bring to mind someone that you're having difficulty with, and send them your goodwill also. May they be happy. And remembering that difficult people are difficult because they're trying, maybe in unskillful ways, to have happiness. And that true happiness really comes about as a result of goodness, mindfulness, compassion. So for them to be really happy, they're going to have those qualities. May they be happy. And if you're feeling a lot of resistance toward that idea, that's okay. Just be aware of the resistance, really developing intentions, developing a skill. You don't have to develop a certain feeling. Just do what needs to be done. May they be happy. And finally, may all beings be happy. And if you'd like, we have about 5 minutes left. You can spend that 5 minutes sending that thought in all directions, all around, above, below, to beings of many kinds. Just sending that wish, may all beings be happy. Or you can turn your attention back to the breath and just rest with the breath for a few minutes. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, existing right here now, and offering flowers, candles, and incense, hearing the Dharma and training the mind, great merit is attained. We dedicate this merit to the great Master Shakyamuni Buddha, the all pervading and everlasting three treasures, 16 guardians and all protectors of the Dharma and their relations throughout space and time, to all ancestors of the Sangha, all beings in the Dharma world. May penetrating light dispel the darkness of ignorance, so that all karma be resolved and the mind flower bloom in eternal spring. May the Dharma body maintain strength and health, and years of life be lengthened for all teachers of this Sangha. May their vows be fully realized. May they live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma. We pray for those suffering from violence and those who grieve for them, for those living in oppression, for all who are imprisoned who should be free, for all refugees from violence, hunger, and catastrophe, man-made or natural. We pray for the health and well-being of those suffering from diseases of body, mind, or spirit, those working toward the healing of those afflictions, for those suffering from COVID-19, those grieving for those lost to this pandemic. May they be serene through all their troubles, and may we realize the enlightened way together. Sabe sata sadahantu avera sukha jivino katang punya phalang mahang sabe bhagi bhavantu te. May all beings always live happily, free from animosity. May all share in the blessings that spring from the good we have done. Turn the light down just a little bit. So, hello, Art and Catherine. Hi, Fred. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Janet. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Marianne. It's good to see you all here. And everybody that I didn't name because you haven't posted anything, it's good to see you here also, even though I don't know who you are. It's noisy here tonight. Sorry about that. Is this still Bike Week? I was hearing a lot of like loud, rumbly engines. Thinking maybe it's still Bike Week. I thought that was over with, but I don't know. Anyway, time passes. It just does. At Stetson, I think I mentioned, so last Wednesday, I mentioned that we were working on memorializing the year of COVID. And hang on, I'm going to fix this a little bit. And it's interesting to see people kind of wanting to return to normal, knowing that normal is going to be a little bit different now. So, like, I got an email today from Jim Ginjo Gallagher, Roshi, wanting to try again to have a session or at White Sands, wanting me to check into that. We had one planned when COVID happened, and it didn't happen because of COVID. Trying to get back to Tomoka Correctional Institution. I get my second vaccine tomorrow, and in a couple of weeks, if all goes well, I should be able to go back in there. I got to check with Stetson and see what happens if I've been vaccinated, but I've been in contact with somebody who's infected, because that's still happening there. And I got an email today from the UUs, and that explains the loud engine noises. Must be people visiting neighbors. Anyway, I got an email from the UUs in Palaca. Going to try to start back up meetings outdoors somewhere, looking for a venue to do that. All these things happening, showing kind of the passage of time. And it made me think about time and how important it is to kind of be aware of where we are in time. So, I started going to Tomoka Correctional Institution in 2006, I think it was. I think it was January 2006. That was quite a while ago. 15 years now, over 15 years. And one day after I'd been going there for a couple of years, there was an inmate named Raleigh who came up to me at the end of a meeting, and he wanted to tell me that he was being transferred to like a lower security kind of place, like a work camp kind of thing. And he has he got released not too long after we had this conversation. I'm not sure. I haven't been in touch with him for years, but I assume he's doing all right. Anyway, he was a chapel clerk and a devout Christian. Almost all the chapel clerks are Christians. There used to be a Jewish guy, and I think there was a Muslim who was part of the time as a chapel clerk. I don't know who's there now, but most of them were Baptists. And he had been hearing our talks basically as he was kind of passing through doing his duties as a chapel clerk, which they check people in and interact with the chaplain. I mean, people come in for one-on-ones with the chaplain and they deal with them and stuff like that. So they have a fairly busy life. And but not 100% busy. And so he had started sitting in on our services some when he had time. And he wanted me to know that he had learned a lot from listening to me and Paul and the incarcerated guys there talk about Buddhism. And he said, as you can imagine, a lot of guys in here in the prison spend a lot of time in the past. They're remembering the good times that they had before they were in here, or they're regretting the things that they did that got them in here. And he said a lot of guys live in the future, thinking about how long they're going to be in here or imagining the great times they're going to have when they get out. But one thing I've learned from you guys, he said, if I want to be happy, I have to do it right now. And I thought that was just the most profound thing, that here's this person in generally pretty circumstances that none of us would want to be in. Um, and and he had learned that happiness is here and now, wherever here is, whenever now is. That's where happiness is. And he said the other thing I learned is to be careful with what I did with my mind. And I've quoted him about this before because I thought it was very astute of him to say this. He said, my mind is like a garden. I have to be careful what I plant in there. If I plant bad things, that's what's going to grow. If I want good things to grow, I have to plant good things. So anyway, time is passing. We're going to move on to normal, something like that. We're going to be seeing what sort of seeds we've been planting for the last year, what we've been nurturing, I got to tell you, some of the stuff that I'm hearing from some of you really pleases me, surprises me, because some of the things that I hear from a lot of people are my concentration is terrible and I'm depressed and I'm anxious and, all those things. And you may all be feeling those things too. But, our practice is our life, and all circumstances are a foundation for practice, all of them, even the unpleasant ones, maybe especially the unpleasant ones. And so, I hear about someone having an experience of oneness, you know, and that pleases me. A lot of people never have that. And not going to say who it was, but somebody emailed me and said that they were really working hard on the Brahma Viharas, and they had gotten to the point where I hope YouTube doesn't pull me for this. They gotten to the point where when they start to think asshole, they think instead, may you be happy and well. And that's good. That's a very good practice, So, and if you could do that, especially during trying times like this, at any time, but especially during trying times like this, then your practice is going somewhere. And that's, you couldn't ask for more than that, I don't think. So, but time, an appreciation of the time that we have is really important. Um, I I had this idea once, this was probably 5 years ago or more, that I started thinking about the idea of mindfulness of time. We have mindfulness of the body, we have mindfulness of feelings and thoughts, mindfulness of, death, all of these things. Like, why not mindfulness of time? As far as I know, there's no mindfulness of time practice, but there probably should be. And what got me thinking about that was that there was a woman who used to come to my spin class at the Y, youngish, 30s, I guess, maybe, young, family, kids, husband, all those things. Healthy. She came to my spin class, and she sat there and did the stuff, did the work and everything. And then all of a sudden, she stopped showing up. And then I heard from one of the chaplains at the Y that she'd gotten sick. She'd gone into the hospital with what seemed to be like a really bad cold or chest congestion and stuff. This was way before COVID, and she died. She'd gone into the hospital with bad chest congestion, and she had not come out. And it just that you think of something like that, and we've been living with this realization of impending tragedy, and for some of us, tragedy for a year now. But there's never a time when the present moment isn't the one moment that we know we have. Never a time. This isn't the moment we know we have, and we don't know we have any of the others. So I was thinking about this mindfulness of time idea, and I made these notes some years back about that. Like, what would that look like, mindfulness of time? And I think one of them would be the awareness that the present moment is precious. It's precious because we have it. It's the one we know we have. And awareness in this moment that all the moments that have gone before are unchangeable. There's nothing we can do to change the past. We can't control it. We can't change it. And awareness in this moment that everything that's not in the past is inevitably unpredictable. All compounded things, including the future, are subject to change and therefore ultimately unsatisfying. That's kind of the rule of impermanence. All compounded things are ultimately unsatisfying because we can't predict them. We can't predict them. We can't control them. We don't know what's going to happen to them. So there's some lessons, I think, that connect to this idea of being mindful of time. And the first is, like Raleigh said, if you want to be happy, you've got to do it now. You've got to live in the present. If you want to be happy in the future, you need to be mindful that what you're doing now is going to grow and eventually ripen in the future. So you don't know what that's going to look like. But you know that if you do good things, if you avoid doing bad things, if you purify your mind, your future is going to be better than it otherwise would have been. Safe bet. We don't know for sure what's going to grow in our garden, but we know if we plant something good, we're going to have something good grow. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. Happiness is here in this moment. But we can accept that we're affected by what has happened in the past. Our present life is the result of past karma. But we don't want to live in the past. Regret is probably a useful learning tool, but it's not a good place to hang out for very long. And the same is true for anger over things that were done or said to us. We can't change what's already happened. There are several key things that we can't control. We can't control what thoughts and feelings arise in our consciousness. We can decide how to react to them, but we can't decide what's going to arise there. We can't control other people. We can, We can try to influence them. We can be kind, and probably they will be kind in return, or at least they, might be kinder in return. We can care for our loved ones and, and do all of those things because they're the right thing to do, but we can't control them. But we can largely control our responses to what other people do. And we can learn from our past mistakes, appreciate past kindnesses, and let go of what we need to let go of in this moment. Um, if we're aware that the present is a product of past actions, then we realize that our present actions are going to affect our future. But we can't live in the future either. Like Raleigh said, there's a lot of guys living in the future that they may never see, right? Because it's uncertain, but we can affect what might grow and ripen. So, and in doing that, we can create spiritual resilience. I think that this is kind of what spiritual resilience is kind of the understanding of the role that past, present, and future play in our lives. And so, spiritually resilient, what does that mean? It means basically think about being physically resilient. If you think about being healthy, it means that if you feel generally good most of the time, be able to do most of the things that you want to do, provided your expectations are realistic. If you get sick, which happens even to healthy people, even when there's not a global pandemic going on, you spend less time suffering. Symptoms probably aren't going to be as bad as they would be if you were unhealthy, and you'll return to feeling good relatively quickly. It's being spiritually resilient is kind of similar. Life is still going to have difficulties, but you'll minimize the amount of suffering that you do in response to those difficulties. And you'll feel better sooner. So you'll rebound quicker. So, in Buddhism, spiritual resilience comes from awakening to the four seals of the Dharma. Life contains difficulties. Everything changes. It's really not all about me. And things are actually fundamentally good. That's the idea of Buddha nature, is that things are fundamentally good. If we understand and accept that, then when we encounter difficulties, we're able to ride them out and return more quickly to feelings of calmness and joy. There's a sutra called where the Buddha talks about this particular thing. He says that there are 8 worldly conditions that spin after the world, and the world spins after these conditions. I like this, the way he puts that. These things spin after the world, and the world spins after these conditions. So these 8 worldly conditions are gain and loss, status and disgrace, censure and praise, pleasure and pain. So he says gain, loss, status, disgrace, censure, praise, pleasure, and pain. Those things arise for everybody. Whether you're spiritually awake or not, you can experience gain and loss. You can experience, a growth in your status and a fall in your status, disgrace. Somebody will praise you, somebody else will criticize you, right? That happens no matter how spiritually awake you are. But when gain arises for what the Buddha would call an uninstructed person, someone who's still basically living in delusion, hasn't awakened to these realities yet, then he doesn't reflect gain has arisen in me. It's in constant, stressful, subject to change. And the mind remains consumed with gain. And so we expect this good fortune to last and to be a lasting source of happiness. But, and it's the same if you get a rise in status, if you get praise, when you experience pleasure. We tend to expect these things to last. And when they change, which they will, then as a consequence of that, we're going to feel stress. We're going to suffer to some degree. And the same thing happens when loss arises, disgrace, censure, pain. We expect that to last also. And so pain arises, the Buddha says, and one does not reflect pain has arisen for me. It's inconstant, stressful, and subject to change. He doesn't discern it as it actually is, and thus the mind remains consumed with pain. Think about think about this situation we've been in, and the degree to which people will feel like this is just never ending. They're really experiencing the pain of the moment and thinking that their life is going to be like this, and then rebel against it. Rebel by not wearing a mask. Maybe if I pretend it's not here, it'll go away, right? Rather than saying, here's a difficulty that I need to get through. If I get through this, it's going to change. Something's going to change, right? It's never going to be necessarily what I expect it to be, but that's okay. I can still live with meaning and purpose, even if I have to wear a mask, even if I have to get a vaccine, and so on. So when we accept these realities, then it's a different story. When we see reality as it is, we know that gain is inconstant. Wealth isn't going to last forever. Maybe not. That it's subject to change. The same is true for good fortune and for misfortune both. So when pain arises, we see it as it actually is. The mind doesn't remain consumed with it because the mind knows these things come and go. This is the way life is. We don't get caught up in clinging to what's pleasant or pushing away what's unpleasant because the world will spin and everything will change. So, our reference point to mindfulness of time is this moment right here. And this is the place where we can experience the teachings of the past, prepare for the ripening of the future. So, when I went to Vermont, however many years ago that was, to finish up my residential in Japanese psychology, the first assignment we had to do was to calculate the number of days that we had left to live. Now, nobody knows exactly how long they're going to live, but there's an average, and this is a Japanese thing. In Japan, they came up with this average of however many years, months, weeks, and days that the average person lived. And they decided that the average human lifespan is about 30,000 days. And so each day that passes is one less that remains. And so our first assignment was to figure out how many days we had lived so far and then subtract that number from 30,000. So there's actually websites where you can do this. You can go in and plug in your birthday and it'll tell you how many days you've been alive so far. So you don't have to hand calculate it, which thank goodness, because when you think of leap years and all that, that drives you crazy. But anyway, you can get that number and subtract it from 30,000. And so, it's kind of startling when you do that. So when I did that when I was in Vermont, I had something like 9,000 days left. And that sounded like a lot, I think 9,000 is a big number, but then you think about, one of them goes away every single day, right? That's all you got left. And actually, I calculated it again today before I gave this talk, and I have 6,225 days left as of this morning. So 6,000 might seem like a big number, but when you think about how that has eroded just since I went to Vermont, wow, need to take care of these days, right? Do something useful with them. When I look at what I want to accomplish still in life, that's not a very big number, not nearly enough days. So that's why I say, the time that we have, the moment that we have is a precious moment. Now, I might live to be as old as my dog. So I don't know where Lola went. She was here when I was starting. She was kind of where I needed to put the pedestal to hold the stuff. So Lola is 16 years old, and she went into the vet for an annual this week, and the vet told Michelle how old she was in, like, comparatively, which is not really the 1 year to 7 thing or whatever it is that the old the old rule of thumb was, he said, basically she's 105. so, so, Michelle was talking about how she's not responsive to us as much as she used to. And he said, yeah, she's tired. She's selective about what she wants to respond to. Nothing wrong to her. She's wrong with her. She's 105. When you're 105, you won't be very responsive to everything anybody suggests you do either. So it's up to us, to decide how to live each day rather than to just kind of go along with the ride. And I can't tell you how to do that. We all play different roles in life. Living wisely is going to be different for you than it is for me. The best thing I can suggest is that you consider your purpose. Check in with yourself now and then. See if you're living in alignment with the values that are the most important to you. Those are the things that really will keep you going. And, stop once in a while, take a breath, really appreciate this moment, live that one breath fully. When you meditate, see how many breaths you can really live completely. Use that to appreciate what it means to be you, to be who you are, where you are, doing what you're doing. So, we'd started at the prison. We started closing our meetings with the four vows, and then this fairly famous quote from Dogen Zenji. And we kind of were working with it a little bit in DeLand at the church before COVID closed everything down. But I'll remind you of this because it's good. I actually recite this to myself as part of my meditation. Friends, let me respectfully remind you, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by and opportunity is lost. Each of us must strive to awaken. Awaken. This night your days will have diminished by one. Take heed, do not squander your life. So thank you for your attention. And we still got a few minutes left. So just a couple of little things. So I'm going to not be live streaming from White Sands anymore unless a whole bunch of people email me and go, oh my God, it's going to be terrible if you don't. It's a whole lot of effort to go to for the result that we're getting. I'm just not happy with the result. Sound quality is not good. It's a lot of trouble for me, and then it's a lot of trouble for Art. So he's there trying to keep things going all through the service when he could be meditating and just enjoying being there. So what I want to do instead is, so when COVID happened, I had actually been right on the brink of launching a podcast. And I had started recording Dharma talks at White Sands, and I had interviewed a friend of ours, Edward Simon, a wonderful jazz pianist and composer who's given me permission to use his music. And Jerry Sprankle had created a graphic for it, and I was almost ready to go. I was just yes, I'm going to record the talks, Janet. So don't worry, you'll still get to hear the talks. I'm going to record them. I'm not going to live stream them. They'll be part of the podcast. So it'll be delayed a few days before you get to hear it, but you'll hear the Dharma talks. And I'm going to try to launch them on Sunday mornings. I don't know if that's going to work, but I'm going to give that a shot. So I hope that works out. If Art's still on, he can correct me. I think we've lost the feed 3 times at White Sands. I know it's been at least twice. I think it was 3. Last time it happened was this last Sunday, and he managed to get it going again. But still, it's just, it's just for the result we're getting. It's just a lot of effort, and I spent a lot of money on being able to do this. I mean, not like tens of thousands of dollars, but for me, a lot of money, to get a laptop that would handle it, cameras that would handle it, and all of that. But I'm just going to put that energy somewhere where I think it will be better suited. And if that doesn't work out and we want to go back to it, we can. But anyway, don't worry. I'm not going to abandon you. We'll just change. Yeah, 3 times. So was it 3 out of 9 or 10? I think. I mean, we haven't live streamed from White Sands that many times, and I think at one of the times we tried to do it, I couldn't get it on at all. So, not even counting that one. So percentage wise, it's just for the effort that it takes. I just don't think the return is good. And I think we'll get a better return off of me just recording the talk, which is way less hassle for me. And then it'll be in the context of something that I think will be nice and enjoyable. And you can listen to it in your car and all those kinds of things. So anyway, I apologize if that creates a problem for anybody. If anybody feels like they're going to be really left to twist in the wind, just email me and let me know, and I'll reconsider. But I think this will be for the best. So thank you all for being here. I look forward to seeing you Thursday night, if you're going to be there Thursday night. And uh, I'll still be at White Sands. You can come to White Sands or listen out for the announcement that the podcast has been launched and you can hear the Dharma talks there. All right. So thank you very much. I hope you have a great evening, and I will see you soon.